Mark, chapter 7. The Parushim and some of the Torah-teachers who had come from Yerushalayim gathered together with Yeshua and saw that some of his talmidim ate with ritually unclean hands, that is, without doing a natilat yadayim. For the Parushim, and indeed all the Judeans, holding fast to the tradition of the elders, do not eat unless they have given their hands a ceremonial washing. Also, when they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they have rinsed their hands up to the wrist, and they adhere to many other traditions, such as washing cups, pots, and bronze vessels. The Parushim and the Torah teachers asked him, "Why don't your talmidim live in accordance with the tradition of the elders, but instead eat with ritually unclean hands?" Yeshua answered them, "Yeshayahu was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites, as it is written. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship of me is useless, because they teach man-made rules as if they were doctrines. You depart from God's command and hold on to human tradition. Indeed," he said to them, "you have made a fine art of departing from God's command in order to keep your tradition. For Moshe said, 'Honor your father and your mother,' and anyone who curses his father or mother must be put to death. But you say, if someone says to his father or mother, 'I have promised as a korban,' that is, as a gift to God, what I might have used to help you, then you no longer let him do anything for his father or mother. Thus, with your tradition which you had handed down to you, you nullify the word of God, and you do other things like this." Then Yeshua called the people to him again and said, "Listen to me, all of you, and understand this. There is nothing outside a person which, by going into him, can make him unclean. Rather, it is the things that come out of a person which make a person unclean." When he had left the people and entered the house, his talmidim asked him about the parable. He replied to them, "So you too are without understanding. Don't you see that nothing going into a person from outside can make him unclean? For it doesn't go into his heart, but into his stomach, and it passes out into the latrine. Thus he declared all foods ritually clean. It is what comes out of a person," he went on, "that makes him unclean. For from within, out of a person's heart, come forth wicked thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, indecency, envy, slander, arrogance, foolishness. All these wicked things come from within, and they make a person unclean." Next, Yeshua left that district and went off to the vicinity of Zor and Zidon. There he found a house to stay in and wanted to remain unrecognized, but keeping hidden proved impossible. Instead, a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit in her came to him and fell down at his feet. The woman was a Greek, by birth a Syro-Phoenician, and she begged him to drive the demon out of her daughter. He said, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's food and toss it to their pet dogs." She answered him, "That is true, sir, but even the dogs under the table eat the children's leftovers." Then he said to her, "For such an answer you may go on home. The demon has left your daughter." She went back home and found the child lying on the couch, the demon gone. Then he left the district of Zor and went through Zidon to Lake Kinneret and on to the region of the 10 towns. They brought him a man who was deaf and had a speech impediment and asked Yeshua to lay his hand on him. Taking him off alone, away from the crowd, Yeshua put his fingers into the man's ears, spat, and touched his tongue. And then, looking up to heaven, he gave a deep groan and said to him, "Hipatach," that is, "be opened." His ears were opened, his tongue was freed, and he began speaking clearly. Yeshua ordered the people to tell no one, but the more he insisted, the more zealously they spread the news. People were overcome with amazement. "Everything he does well," they said. "He even makes the deaf hear and the dumb speak." End of Mark chapter 7.